What is up, all you GBA type people? This is Tom. And before we jump into this week's power rankings, I just wanted to address the debacle that had happened in last week's power rankings. Now, to start off, I do apologize for the demeanor and tone that Kelly and I, mainly me, that was projected towards Dan. Yes, it was overly aggressive, and yes, I do apologize. However, there's a few things that you as commenters should understand. The power rankings by nature are supposed to include opinions. Now, if you go back to Season 1 of the GBA and, work your way towards up until about Season 3, the opinions were more heavy-handed. Now, yes, sometimes opinions get in the way here, but the point is to have a deeper conversation about the coaches, the battles, what happens. Basically, we look for more than just what happens in terms of stats. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, the nature is that what we think affects the gameplay and the overall quality of the match, we will talk about, for better or for worse. So if a coach acts poorly, plays poorly, or performs poorly, we will address that. And for better or for worse, you as, viewers have to understand that. That does mean that if they make good plays, we will praise them. However, if they make negative plays or play poorly, we're not going to pamper them. We're not going to walk on eggshells and try not to insult anyone. We're going to do what we've been doing for the past season and a half. So that leads me into my next, point. We appreciate all the support, all the comments, and all of the just how much you guys enjoy the GBA. However, when we look at the comment section, last week, some of you were just straight up rude and relentless in your pursuit to cut down what we do here in the GBA. We appreciate constructive criticism. We appreciate comments with a purpose, not comments to be keyboard warrior, sitting behind your keyboard, pretending like the words you say don't matter. We here at the GBA, the analyst section, we do this solely because we have a passion to do it. We don't get paid. We don't get any sort of perk outside of we want to do this. We commit every week, hours every week to do this. Now, some of you get that, and some of you don't. So, like I said, some of the comments last week were incredibly harsh. They did not add to any sort of discussion. As much as we love the comments and love talking and love, hearing how you guys break down the matches, we can't tolerate those type of comments and that type of attitude from you, the fans. We do encourage and continue to hope that you guys do add lively discussion to the comment section. Just keep it civil, and we, myself and all the other analysts, we attempt to be critical in our jobs and to add a deeper level of analysis into every week, every match that we watch. Any offense that is taken by any of the coaches or staff, we don't intend, but unfortunately it's kind of a byproduct of our jobs. There's no animosity behind what we say, any of our statements. Remember, guys, this is a show, this is entertainment. What we say, what we do, doesn't mean anything in terms of the grandiose scheme of the GBA. We don't compete, so what we say is just for you guys to enjoy. So that being said, hope you can understand where we're coming from, where I'm coming from, and keep that in mind as we progress through the rest of the season. That being said, hope you all enjoy the power rankings. Thank you for listening. What's up, all you GBA type people? This is Tom, and we're here with your Week 7 power rankings. With me as always.
What is going on, everyone? My name is Under the Radar.
Last week was whatever you want to describe it as. This week, we're starting to see a little bit of drop-off from the coaches, the commentaries. As of this video, we have not seen, 5?
4 or 5.
Okay, yeah, 4 or 5 videos. Unfortunately, that will be reflected in the discussion Kelly and I have. So for better or for worse, enjoy it for what you will. If you don't get, to your favorite coach, go pander them in their comment section and tell them to upload. Starting off, we'll lead off with the Sacramento Sea Kings. We saw Hayden. Now, Hayden was put on his heels rather quickly. His sets have become more standard, week by week. A little bit of, come on, man, happening. The fact that he went for taunt against Nick Drapion to prevent Nick from, setting up all over him was good because, and it allowed him to not get, as heavily set up on with Nick's acupressure. Very interesting that one was. And he understood to not go for a status when Nick was going to go for substitute as that actually happened. So he's learning. So that's a positive. However, he not having priority on Breloom, he bluffed it so hard he messed that one up. And he brought a Breloom just because, and that was his description, just because. Even though it didn't really do well on Nick's team, the priority was cool, but in his own words, why, It's not really a good reason. It was very confusing showing by Hayden. Everything was very standard. He continues to mold himself predictably. Very easy team to prepare for. It's not something you want to be in the GBA.
I can kind of see why he did bring Breloom. If you think about it in the way that we've been saying that he's been predictable, he's been bringing the exact same team over and over again. It just so happens that he took out Amon in Tornadus T that destroyed Nick's team 6 ways from Sunday, which I don't agree with at all. I think that if you want to bring anything, there should at least be some reasoning behind it, and at least make sure that you can use the set properly. The first thing that I noticed is the fact that Slowbro did not have an item, while Cobra Berry is a thing. Why? I realize you're scared to get it knocked off, however, Cobra Berry makes knockoff do less damage than if you actually had an item. So for future reference, if you are scared of that, run Cobra Berry. It's better in many ways. I like the Spadef Mega Sableye. It's just Mega Sableye doesn't need to be max every single week. It has the stats to where you can kind of sort of mix defenses, run the necessary offense you need with it, and do a little bit of, I don't want to say chip damage because it's more than chip damage, but it whittles things down very easily, and I would like to see Hayden kind of adapt to that a little bit more. I feel that Porygon 2 should have done a lot better than what it did, because if you look at it, the main thing that Porygon does is that it forces in Mienshao to go for a high jump kick. If he ran like Protect, if he had maybe gotten the discharges off earlier on in the match and maybe gotten a little bit more paralyzed hacks or anything instead of tracing the sheer force, I think that he could have had a much better chance, because Porygon 2 is a massive win condition if you like sit down and look at the teams. But all in all, he's just getting extremely predictable in everything he does, and he's not bringing the right sets for things. The Mach Punch on Breloom could have potentially not won him the game, but it could have brought it back massively. Also, he stated that whenever you're behind the 8-ball, you have to make massive predictions. Yes, you do, but not massive predictions that lose you the game worse than what you would have if you had played safe. So, my number 16, your number 15, we have the Cincinnati Loudreds. And have you seen the match?
Nope.
I have not either. I have not heard anything about the match, so yeah.
Sounds good. Number 14, Long Island Metro Rockies. Now, you said it best. What did he fall to this week?
He fell to the exact same thing he fell to last week.
And why is that?
He just doesn't see options in the massive realm that they are.
I think there's like a short-sightedness when it comes to hazards with him, and especially toxic spikes. If our predictions weren't enough in the Pick'em show, I think we sought out that, yes, George uses hazards very well, and I think we kind of saw that coming this match, and that's pretty much what happened. He had no hazard control on his side, and he thought that George had no hazard control, but Shifty gets defog. Okay. Things I will go into that I like. I do like his attempt to use Chopple Berry, intimidate Scrafty versus George. Yes, he did lure out he was attempting to force George or commit George to be like, yes, go for the high jump kick or the drain punch, please. But obviously George is better than that.
But that honestly would have been a really good play if it wasn't against George. Because anybody else would have just been like, he's going to die to a high jump kick. Easy.
Yeah, and it was funny though how... Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. For many minutes. The opposite spectrum of this. Things I didn't really like. The fact that Nips... He didn't know what Last Resort did. In his words, Last Resort, what does that do? Ugh. And then it's almost as if Nips hopes for hacks because it keeps him in contention. I think we've seen more times, at least from my perspective, and I could be wrong for this, but We've seen times where he's fallen behind very quickly, or not even in a gradual sense, but within maybe 2 or 3 turns, where he goes from competing to losing one mon, getting big damage off on his team, and it's like he just falls apart from there. That's just me. I'm often wrong, according to the comment section. That's just how I see it. He's low, and nothing's really working for him. It's not melding, meshing at all.
I think Nip's overprepared for Gothitelle insanely, which can you blame him? I mean, look at the way that George has been using it, but at the same time, Gothitelle didn't really match up too well with the mons that Nips has in Selgor, Diggersby, Feraligatr, so many things like that. It just match up very well against Gothitelle, so I don't think he had that much to worry about with it. When you also look at the fact that he brought Chansey again, I think I don't know why. Think about it. Nips has a Mega Lopunny that could have been sub Power Up Punch, or just Power Up Punch in general. And then he has a Gothitelle, which could set up all over it again. He also has multiple knockoff users. And when I say multiple, I don't mean like 1, 2. I mean I'm pretty sure George has 4 knockoff users the last time I looked at the roster. I could be wrong on that. I haven't looked at it since like 3 days ago. But he has a lot of knockoff users. Like, there's no need to bring Chansey to this match. Not even to take on a really good special hitter, because Nidoqueen can be mixed with Superpower. Like, there's no reason to bring Chansey this match. It was very, I don't want to say poor planning, but it wasn't the best planning. I don't see the need for Rotom Fan either. It has a useless ability. Its stabs aren't that good. It was an easy switch into Nidoqueen if George wanted to play that risky. He could have. Like, it just wasn't a good team building week for Nips, in my opinion, and I think that's where he lost in team building.
Hey, come on, man. Rotom Fan was his new acquisition. You gotta use it, right?
So coming in at number 13, we have the Detroit Steel Wings, and the reason why we both actually have Crimson up so high is because the entire season where we've been criticizing that he's starting to show, but it's not really catching, it caught this week against a fantastic player. There was just a lot in his team prep that we saw that he did better. I think the fact that he did post-com actually helped more than he expects it to, because he focused a lot better. Yay for post-com. The fact that he saw that Staraptor did amazing work, knew that it was his win condition, saved it for the very end, never even got to use it, kind of sort of blows my mind because it did amazing work. The Dusclops set. It made me so happy as a stall player to see Infestation, Pain Split, Toxic. Oh my god, it made me so happy. It was perfect because once it trapped one of Lars's walls, one of his regenerator core, what did he have to do? Like, what was going to be his answer to a key member of a team? I think that was fantastic preparation. The hacks against him, or against Lars, really helped him with the Megahorn miss, but it's Megahorn. It's kind of like running Fire Blast. And then I think that the best part that really showed me that he's finally getting the grasp on everything, he said in his commentary, he could have been risky and gone for Scald at the end when it was Suicune versus Mega Absol, but Rest was the safe play. You're damn straight it was the safe play, because that is what secured you the victory. That was an amazing play, and I'm so happy that he went for that play. It was perfect. Great job, Crimson. Keep it up.
You said a lot of what I was going to say. Yes, awesome that he's doing post-coms, and for the right reason, not for, whatever other reason he might come up with, to get his thoughts together and to play better. That's fantastic. That's the reason I think sometimes post-coms are healthier than live coms. If you are struggling, stop doing live coms, go to post-coms, get your thoughts together, and actually play your match without constantly having to blah blah into the camera. Rant over. Very good on Crimson using Infestation, like you said, to trap both of Lars' Regenerator Mons, and the fact that Dusclops single-handedly took out Lars' Slowking in like 2 turns was... wow.
It made me so happy.
You are an evil person. It just shows that he's getting it, like you said. Finally coming together. He used Credillia very nicely as well, keeping it healthy, knowing when to attack, when not to attack. Same with Suicune. He's understanding what's annoying on his team and what is usefully annoying, if that makes sense. There are things. His team is bulky, and if he complements that like he did this week with Staraptor and even Zardex, the way he can mold Zardex into this bulky, like a self-realized bulky team, is definitely more promising than what we were seeing in previous weeks. And if he upsets some coaches, or if he just plays really hard, hey man, he's in a good spot. Adjust, adapt, play better. That's what we're seeing.
This is the league format. You have to do what you have to do to win.
Moving on from there, we'll talk about Milwaukee Bucks. Now, Steve fell short. Yes, he did play Miguel. Yes, he did have a plan. It just didn't pan out. Even though, the Roselli Bear got knocked off of Conkeldurr was a good idea, especially with his thoughts in regards to Mega Altaria. It just sucks that it didn't work out. It was also a good bluff by Steve, bringing in Mega Gardevoir and bringing Miguel to fear it and switch out. It was risky, like he said multiple times, and it worked out. However, those bluffs don't work out all the time, but I do entertain the fact that he did this time and it worked. However, what I did think was not that smart was the fact that he blew the Custap and Dur play way too early with Shaman. At that point, he only saw half of Miguel's team. He saw 3 Mons, didn't get that much of damage off, and it was especially so because I think at that point he needed to get big damage off of most of Miguel's team, because I don't think Mega Gardevoir could have one-shotted most things on Miguel's team, especially with how Miguel plans and EV spreads and whatnot. It wasn't smart not having HP Fire on Cinccino for Ferrothorn, and the fact that he went for Tail Slap with Miguel still having a healthy Ferrothorn, he could have got Heatran and gone for the U-turn like he did before. There wasn't really a downside with going for U-turn. I just think overall his downfall was the fact that he didn't get big damage off of Mew and Greninja before going for the Tailwind Flame Char's Heatran plan. It's just there was a lot that needed to work out for Steve, and it just didn't.
Again, I think that there were some things that Steve should have brought that he didn't. For example, I think he should have brought Lumberry Haxorus, because if he had set up Dragon Dances against the Ferrothorn, for example, he would have gone for Thunder Wave. It would have popped the Lum. He would have gotten a +1, and he could have done a lot of damage to the Ferrothorn. That was my main thing that I noticed. And then Cinccino gets Technician, so him running Hidden Power Fire would have been an amazing plan because it gets boosted. I get that Skill Link is the better play or better ability to have, but you gotta think outside the box sometimes when it comes to playing higher tier people that think that this one switch in is always the best. And that's what they'll constantly kind of go to is, okay, this is an easy switch in for it when clearly it shouldn't have been. Miguel has ran Seismitoad, I don't want to say standard because it hasn't been standard at all. However, he's ran knockoff multiple times. Why stay in with Conkeldurr when the Roselli Berry could have been very important? Wouldn't it have been better to go out into Shaman, instantly threaten it out? Yeah, you get your Custap Berry knocked off, but you don't have to worry about this thing sitting in front of you that is instantly a threat to multiple things on your team. It was whenever he left it in, I kind of just went, why? It's obvious he's going to go for a knockoff. He's either going to go for knockoff or Scald or something. I understand why he didn't go for Scald, because burns and stuff, which, by the way, Conkeldurr is the most annoying Pokemon in the world to face for bulky water types. I love it. I love the fact that Steve is also taking advantage of that. It just kind of sort of made me question. But overall, I think that the plays that Steve was making with the bold predictions, with his Mega Gardevoir on the Mega Altaria, that was very awesome, and it kind of goes to show that Steve's not afraid to do what he has to do to win. And I think that if he keeps that attitude, he will keep winning. It just, I think he has to think outside the box a little bit more.
Number 11, the Arizona Deoxys. What do we say about this one, Kelly?
Have you seen the match?
Nope.
Me neither. Do you know anything about the match?
Nope.
Me neither.
Good. Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen a match from Mavone or Gubs in 2 weeks, so yeah, that. So next we have the New York Yankees, Shady. Shady dropped another one due to a few questionable, little strange plays. Very bold at the beginning, staying in with Jirachi against Victini, and not hoping just that Dan wasn't scarfed so that it would force a speed tie, but also hoping that he went for body slam and got the para. He got it and the full para. Good job, but the balls, and that's not always going to work out. But hey, if Shea's having fun, I cannot knock him for just playing like he wants to and it working out. It was very cool. Now the not so nice part. Shea didn't Mega Evolve with Mega Venusaur, or let me correct that, he didn't switch into Rotom Heat like he had wanted to because he was talking too much. Pay attention. He couldn't look down and click. He has to talk about Heated Mo or whomever he was talking about. Just pay attention. Also, the fact that he fell short twice to Water Absorb, and I think at that point when he did that, that's when he lost all the momentum that he was trying to gain off that first turn with the Jirachi. I like the idea that he had Mimic with Melodic to get Dan's Mega Aggron's Stealth Rock, and it did pressure Dan's Victini and Mence. However, not having him Power Grass on Melodic or Rotom Heat, very questionable. I don't know how you overlook that. For someone who's been in the league now for 4 full seasons.
I think it was also kind of because Dan hasn't brought Quagsire at all. So, realistically, if you're looking at a team, it's really easy to say that you prep for everything. But whenever you look at a team and be like, he hasn't brought this at all, he hasn't brought this at all, and he hasn't brought this at all, I'll just make sure I can take it on some way, but I'm not going to look too big into it. And I think that's what Shady did, and I think it really came back to bite him in the butt.
That's a cop-out, though, because the way that anyone else would look at it, you go, okay, I've brought Melodic every week. What hard counters Melodic on Dan's team? Quagsire.
Yep.
He's going to bring it. So, if nothing else, I have HP Grass so that I'm not hard countered by Melodic. Rotom H, okay, I kind of understand. But Melodic, it's almost a staple that Shady brings Melodic, like, right off the bat. First thing he chooses every week.
Yep, that's very true. Very true.
Something I'm coming to notice as well is that he's leaning too much on Sharpedo. First 3 weeks, it was cool. It was very niche. It worked. However, he's having trouble creating consistent offensive pressure. I say that because look at his team structure for this week. Mega Venusaur didn't really do anything. Melodic, Rotom Heat. Their walls, with Rotom Heat being more of a tank, not really like a reliable, I can easily recover wall.
Rotom is a Rotom.
Exactly. Sharpedo and Zam aren't reliable sweepers. They're glass cannons. They're really good at one thing, but they can't really stay in, take a hit, and then go ahead and knock something out. They're kind of more of a revenge killer, they're handcuffed to themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Jirachi is not powerful enough with the Scarf, so there's no offense he's creating, no organic offense. He's more or less relying on something dying, bringing something else in, or really having to keep himself in a good position, which he just didn't do this week. Last but not least, the fact that the Zen Headbutt miss sucked at the end, the very last turn. However, I think he would have needed like every turn flinch after that to win.
He would have needed like 3 flinches in a row or something like that.
Yeah, so
you kind of basically said everything that I said, outside of the fact that he's been playing Alakazam very well. If I can, since you said basically every single negative point I had, the only other positive point I had was that he's been playing Alakazam very well throughout the season. He's known when to save it. He's known when he needs to get off the correct damage with it for his other mons. I think he's playing Alakazam probably the best on his team outside of Sharpedo.
Next up we have Pittsburgh Piratas, who fell a little short to Fizz. You talk about him.
I think the main place he fell short was with his Excadrill set. What you just mentioned about Shady and having a hard counter to something, a hard counter to Excadrill is Chestnut, so why not bring Aerial Ace? Not to mention, Fizz also brought Leavanny, which is also 4 times weak to Aerial Ace. So if he had brought that, he would have gotten off nice damage, would have scared him out a little bit, it probably would have shaken up his boots a little bit, and it could have really helped. He's also been very keen to bringing Tyranitar in multiple ways, so I feel like if Tup had brought a different Excadrill set that was meant to take on his opposing Sand, along with wear down his walls if he didn't bring Tyranitar, would have been a little bit smarter on Tup's part. Going into Arcanine over Celebi, I don't know if that on I'm sorry. Let me clarify that a little bit. Going into Celebi on Chestnut, I don't know if that was a very good middle ground play or if he looked very far into the move pool and saw that it got a bug type move. I was like, nope, can't risk it just yet. But either way, I think that that play was pretty fantastic. And also, one more positive thing is that Tubb is also using Thunderous very well. So there's a lot of Mons on everybody's team that they're using very well. Just seems that they fall short to a few key Mons that they rely on a little too much.
It was a great battle from both sides, regardless of how you really cut it. It's just Tubb tripped up, and that's kind of a pun due to his speed point or lack thereof at the end. It was good on him to have the Archeops lead. I like the Endeavor set with Archeops. I know it's good if you've played NU and you know what it does in NU, but in the GBA, I just like seeing it because it kind of removes the whole defeatist part, because we saw how not that much damage it did when it was in defeatist range.
Oh, not that much damage.
Makes sense, right? I mean, it made a good prediction with going for Earthquake when Doughblade came in. It just, like I said, didn't do anything. It's a good switch by Tubb going into Celebi, getting Celebi in for free. On Fizz is predicted to lead sweep with Chestnut. And then it was also a decent play, him going for the spin and living the crunch to get the webs away and to allow Exegil to get a chance to sweep at the end and win. However, that's where the whole tripping up thing comes into play, where he fell one speed point short because he had Sand Rush, the Excadrill, and was slower than Jolly T-Tar, and he just didn't have the right amount of EVs. That sucks. We've all been there. I've been there. Yeah. Otherwise, a good match. Next up, we have the San Francisco Giants. Unfortunate is what I'm going to say about this match.
I don't really know what to say about this match because only John uploaded and it was a disconnect. So coming in at number 7, I have a surprising drop in the Borussia Donphan. Now, this is mainly because I have really high expectations for Lars. I have from the very beginning. He's fantastic. He's proven it multiple times over and over. Originally, whenever you look at it, he lost to a team that had no wins, so instantly you think, yeah, he's going to drop a little bit. However, I have some points about the team building that kind of really confused me. A, he overprepped for Mega Charizard X way too much in my opinion. It was a threat, but I don't think it was that big of a threat. I don't know how to word this. How do you word something that you want to say?
Usually by saying words.
I fucking hate you. I hate you so much. One of the sets that really confused me was the Slowking set. I totally get the Wakanberry. I totally get the thought process behind saying he's going to have to bring Thunder Punch in order to hit it. Believe me, I get it. However, isn't the key of having berries to make sure that you can kind of sort of take something out in return to using up the berry, right? Am I stupid in thinking this?
That makes sense in a pseudo-convoluted type of way.
But even though it was just to Thunder Wave it, would that have been enough? I don't think so. And I think that if he had gone like a bulkier set with like leftovers or even like a Trick Room Calm Mind, I think that would have been better. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. Another set that kind of confused me was why didn't he bring Rock Polish Landorus? I get that he had the Baton Pass on Scolipede to hopefully get some speed into Landorus, but I feel like Rock Polish just would have been so much better. It would have made Staraptor a little bit less scary. If Mega Charizard if it hadn't Dragon Danced up yet, it couldn't come in and Dragon Dance for free. So if he had set up first, he would have been good to go. I feel like it could have really helped everything out in the grand scheme of things, along with add some fear factor into the, oh shit, I have a +2 speed Landorus in front of me. The exchange where he was constantly Dragon Clawing the Cradilly, he knew he was going to lose it. He knew when Crimson was going to recover. But like if he had gone into something to maybe force the momentum a little bit, he could have he could have swung the match back a little bit. The hacks, like I said before in Crimson, the Megahorn miss, it hurt. However, you don't want to miss run X Scissor. Just like if you don't want to miss Fire Blast, you run Ember. It is what it is. It sucks, but I don't think that Lars will stay down in below top 5 much longer. It's just this match kind of sort of made me scratch my head, and I'm looking forward to seeing him pick it up next week, because historically he normally does really well after a loss that he doesn't like.
He reminds me of me, honestly. Like, back when I was in the GBA. Back when I was in the GBA. Okay. I would like win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, and it got really frustrating, but I could see Lars's, I could see his commitment to the league and the fact that, yeah, okay, he lost some, but never discredit him for being a team that's going to lose more. So you said that pretty much the right way, and I like how you worded that. I don't really have much else to add about Lars. The Mega Horn kind of sucked for Lars, as he explained. He could have knocked the Rose Raid one turn sooner. Thus, it would have allowed him to live a little longer with the Absol at the end. It was unfortunate, that's all. And the crit Scald Burn definitely hurt Lars, considering with the hazards, Tangrowth couldn't utilize Regenerator, couldn't recover HP, essentially became useless, or more of a liability for him, essentially. So, nullifying what he was trying to do. And that's really unfortunate. I don't have much else to add. I think you said everything that needed to be said. Lars will bounce back. I've never seen him as a competitor that's going to lie down and not let a loss not motivate him to continue winning. So now we'll talk about Nick, Boston Red Sox. Nick was in control almost the entire time, and he kept hitting on his heels. The Nidoking and the Mega Audino did a very good amount of work this game.
Mega Audino always does work, though, to be honest.
Okay. I liked how he used Drapion as well. I think it's very underrated in the GBA format. I know when I was in it, I wanted Drapion, but I never got it because Fizz had it, and before that, I didn't realize how much potential it could have. This acupuncture was a little bizarre. At first, I was like, is he trying to go for evasion boosts? That would be cool. Well, kind of dickish, but cool. Like I said about Mega Audino and Nidoking, very hard to switch into. Those two specifically. The high jump kick miss sucked a lot, and then Nick not getting paralyzed on the 2 discharges against Porygon 2 with Manaphy was fortunate. Sucks that Nick misses so many high jump kicks. He played a good match. It was a mild match, so it wasn't extra spicy. It wasn't that it was a match. So good job, Nick. Expect to see that happen again, and again, and again, and again, and again.
I think it's always cool when a team brings multiple setup mons, because your opponent goes from this, holy shit, what do I do? Okay, I got rid of that problem, and then you see another setup mon, and you're like, oh fuck, and then you shit yourself. So I think that was very good team prep on Nick's part. Seeing Mega Audino be perfect as always, it made my little heart just pitter patter out of my chest.
Little heart pitter patter out of his chest, he says.
It was so nice. Like I said, I think that you just need to run wide lens on Mienshao, and you'll be good to go for the rest of the season. Don't worry. But overall, Nick just kind of pulled out a win that we knew he could pull out all season long. So
at number 5, we have Dan St. Louis Rampardos. Dan played very well, very carefully. We essentially saw from Dan what we expect to see from him, and what we've had seen from him for a very long time now in the GBA. It's very solid doubles, going from Quagsire into Victini against Shady's switch from Melodic into Mega Venusaur, always on top of those, always worked out very well. And the second one was when he went from Mega Aggron to Jolteon, and when Shady went from Jirachi into Melodic again, maintained positive matchups. I don't think I've ever seen anyone play a Quagsire better than he did in this match. I've used Quagsire, I'm sure some other people can attest that Quagsire, it's a little one-dimensional, but the way that he used this match is very cool. Good job, Dan. Getting back into, out of that slump, because he did lose, 2 matches. Those are pretty much negated now with these 2 very good wins.
I don't have basically anything else to add on, except for the fact that Yuxi set was absolutely amazing. I think that just throwing Substitute on a random mon every now and then to just kind of throw your opponent off and force him to attack you is always nice. Force you to force his Alakazam to attack you to get the Focus Sash broken. There was just a lot about that Uxie set that made me very happy as a competitive battler. And I think that was probably one of the highlights of the match for me.
Next up, we have John, the New Orleans Pelipers. Frankly, it's very unfortunate we couldn't get to see this match. These are two of a lot of people's favorite coaches this season, I think. But one thing I will say is John's breakdown of the match, or what he tried to break down. Very cool that he utilized defensive High Dragon this week. We saw that last year with Miguel using it. Very cool to see it again this year.
Yeah.
Cool. Glad we got that one.
So at number 3, we both have Fizz and Scarf Tyranitar. Was amazing. No. I loved it. No. Clean switch into no. That is the best nickname ever. Digging Pin Missile out of the depths of Chestnut's move pool was fantastic. I thought it was very smart. The pursuit kill with Doublade was amazing. I think that Leavanny kind of played a weird role this match. It wasn't key, but it didn't do nothing. It kind of sort of... I don't want to say it was a cleric, because it wasn't a cleric. It was just...
utility.
There we go. I like that word. But this was good old Fizzy Stardust. I like seeing this Fizzy Stardust.
A very good game, or a good win, I should say, for Fizz. I like the Bright Powder Sandville Garchomp. He's a cheeky son of a bitch for attempting to get it to work. Didn't work, but it was... I certainly got a chuckle when I heard Bright Powder Sandville Garchomp. The Pinbill's Chestnut was nice too. Like you said, it was primary. Celebi could have been a primary switch-in. That was something I kind of sought after when Tuff did in fact draft his team. He had very few switch-ins to a dark move, and I think the way that Fizz utilized Crunch this week with his Scarf Tyranitar certainly did do the type of damage I think he was expecting.
No.
And to counteract your statement, I do think that Leavanny played a pivotal role. I say this because the Sticky Web was nice for the time that it lasted, because it ensured that Kyurem couldn't come in for free, because I believe it was Choice Scarf this week, and that Excadrill without the sand was in fact outpaced by a few things on Fizz's team, or at least checked, because it couldn't just run amok. I also think that even though it only got webs up and it went for Heal Bell when it really didn't need to, it played as a second wall to Excadrill if it needed to be, which I think Fizz kind of had to use it in that sense.
Which it shouldn't have been a wall.
I mean, I'm not saying it was your typical definition of a wall, but it came in, it sponged a hit or two, and it got in, it ducked out, it got up webs. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I totally know it.
Great play going for Gyro Ball on the prediction with Kyurem coming in. It would have KO'd if it wasn't for the Sticky Web. Obviously, that counteracted. And if Thunderer stayed in, then it just would have gotten off damage. Number 2, we have Miguel, the Real Maril. Miguel was one step ahead, as he always seems to be, and he locked up a win. It was good on him, preemptively expecting HP Fire on Chinchino for Ferrothorn, which is why I think that your thought of Steve running the Technician Chinchino wouldn't really have worked out. I think Miguel kind of sniffed that one out, unlike Gubbs at the beginning of the season, with the HPI Sand Palm. Miguel did a solid job maintaining control, not letting any of Steve's plans or tricks fool him or frazzle him. Everything was kind of just kept in line. He essentially walked Steve down the line up until when he finally won. The Ferrothorn and Mew were very effective this week for Miguel, and it's nice to see that, even though they are very high-tiered Mons. And then finally, at the end of the match, you have, last week we saw Steve praying to the Hax Gods, Dan prays to Elsa, and then Miguel prays to Cthulhu. That was a joke.
I hate you.
I
hate you
know.
so much.
But to the fans, that was a joke.
Well, Miguel just played really well this week. He kind of sort of... I don't want to say he had Steve on a leash, because there were a couple doubles that Steve made that was amazing, but the second that Steve kind of got off his leash, Miguel kind of threw it right back on and said, hey, no, get the fuck back here. And he won the game from it, and I think that was a fantastic win Miguel had, because it kind of sort of went outside the realm of the way he thought it would go. He didn't think it would be a super offensive match, and it was just dead, ripping dead, the finest of dead. It was a fun match to watch, but there's no shock. It's the Real Madrid. They're top for a reason.
Well, they're second from the top. We haven't gone over our top team yet. Now, our top team, we have George and the San Francisco Arcanines.
I just want to say, fake out, last resort, Megalopony.
Very cool. I appreciate that just as much as you do. It was a great showing by George. Every match so far in this winning streak has been a great showing by George. He's become very fond, for a good reason, of Toxic Spikes, and certainly effective against Nix's team this week. Unfortunately, George did mess up the EV spread, which could have enabled him to set up a sub and keep a sub up against Nips's Rotom fan with his Rotom Spooky. It was also very good on George to almost immediately recognize the Choppleberry bait from Nips's Scrafty. I said that Nips thought that was a really good plan. You know, it would have worked out if not for George just kind of going, you know, scratching his head and going, wait a second, because he saw the Intimidate first, and then, you know, there's no other real reason, unless you're a crazy person, to bring in a Scrafty against a Megalopony. If not, you have a chance of attempting to live a hit from it. I also like that George took the risk of Nips going for knockoff with his Scrafty, bring in Megalopony to take the damage and the hazards damage to efficiently knock out Scrafty without the Intimidate hampering his potential to knock it out. Like you said, last resort fake out Megalopony, very impressed. It bypassed all of Nips' shenanigans. And I also like the fact that he expected Chansey to come in. He went for knockoff, and he did that more so because he knew that the quick attack at that point would not kill with Nips's Diggersby.
This match just goes to show the diversity that George can play, and play it comfortably. Basically, I want to say 80% of the time, what has George done? He's brought Gothitelle, trapped something that stopped Megalopony, Nidoqueen, or Crawdaunt, killed that, and then proceeded to win accordingly. This week, didn't bring his Gothitelle at all, and he went for a more, okay, I'm going to let Nips think he can do this. I'm going to let him think he can set up with his Gator. But he really can't. Thank goodness he didn't set up, because that foul play would have just completely destructificated his entire life. Which, by the way, I love the way he used Umbreon this match, just kind of using it as like a safety net to get massive chip damage off on the Feraligatr. He also used Shift Tree extremely well. Like you said, going for the knockoff, I was pleasantly surprised at how much damage that did to my baby Chansey. It was a very interesting turn of events. Did you just sigh in exasperation at my baby Chansey?
Sigh intensifies.
Just George in general has impressed me so much this entire season. I will never ever doubt George again for as long as I live. This match just completely solidified it. The way he used Nidoqueen was perfect, because he's been mainly going for like a bulky offensive wall breaker for most weeks. He's brought bulky, like just straight up bulky, a couple of times, but this time he used it as like a bulky hazard setter, and it was just perfect. I loved this match. It was so much fun to watch, especially on George's side. I loved watching George's video this week.
So that was your power rankings, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Leave your comments and criticism in the comment section down below, or the bottom.
Or the bottom.
We look forward to next week's matches. Hopefully we actually get a few more uploads. Fewer matches we don't have to say that we didn't see any footage from. You know, that's kind of the hope every week. So, that being said, see you guys next week. We'll hope you all enjoy the match on Sunday.
Love, peace, and chicken grease, fam.